Been widespread relief for film and television production companies who've been given the green light to resume filming TV commercials. But it's not a free-for-all for the industry and the many people it employs, including service providers. The Commercial Producers Association of South Africa has published new COVID-19 protocols that productions must adhere to. To tell us more about them, we're joined by Melina McDonald. She's an executive producer at Hey Darling Films and a member of the executive committee for the Commercial Producers Association. Melina, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Over the last few weeks, we've been speaking to people in different industries about how the COVID-19 pandemic and indeed the lockdown has changed how they go about their business. Of course, there was relief that your colleagues in the industry could get back to work, but you needed to be prepared for a new normal.
That's correct, Marcel. Thank you for having us on. The lockdown was devastating for the film industry because all work was cancelled, and we are an industry of no work, no pay. So we employ a lot of freelancers, and everyone's work was taken completely away from them. So we proceeded to write a bit of a protocol in order to be able to get us back to work as soon as possible, so that we could also make sure that our freelancers started working again. Do you want me to just continue?
Sure. Melina, what I wanted to bring up with you is just how, I know you were very involved in putting together that protocol. Where did you even start? Because a production, a regular television film production, whether for an advert or something larger, is so wide in its scale. Where do you even start?
We really took the approach that a shoot is workplace for our crew, and our freelancers basically have no means of income if they're not shooting. So, and that is a large amount of people in our industry. They're also not, they cannot apply for UIF or anything like that. So we took the approach that we can actually control a shoot because we employ all the people on the shoot. It helps with tracking, and we tackled each department individually. So we took, we made an entry and a form and a tracking form, which like most businesses have, or like a medical business has. Temperatures were taken on arrival and still are. And each department was tackled in sanitization and how to make safe. We also restricted including remote VTs and remote meetings up front, so that the only point at which people were in contact mostly was the shoot. We followed all the rules of workplace, and as a result, we put together a protocol based on that.
Now, how difficult has it been to get those wheels turning again and to get everybody's buy-in across the industry that things really needed to be done differently and needed to be done safely if you wanted to continue to stay in business?
We're an incredible industry of problem solvers, to be frank, and people embrace the protocols that we put together, and we're very grateful to be able to start working already at level 4. So our stakeholders had definitely were on board with everything. Our crew were amazing. Our clients have been amazing. The difficulty is the nerve of whether or not we could ever go back into lockdown and then things don't happen. Once a client invests in a shoot, there's quite a lot of money at stake, and the reality is that if somebody gets ill, that shoot would have to be shut down. Those kind of risks make the clients a little bit nervous to spend money and make everyone around us quite cautious. So I think it's a bit of a double-edged sword. The other side of it is the service industry, because obviously with borders still being closed, they haven't been able to start getting going again. The service industry is when international clients fly in and shoot with the local service houses. It's a large part of our industry, and it brings a lot of revenue into South Africa. But unfortunately, that industry has had to stay firmly closed unless we could work with remote VTs and remotely with clients, which obviously they're not as keen to do.
In terms of buy-in, you say it's been great because various stakeholders have bought into this new protocol they need to follow, because it means they can also stay in business. Have you put processes in place that if, let's say, anybody from a lighting person to somebody who's taking care of, who's an extra in a production of some kind, if they feel that who's ever in charge of a production is not following those guidelines, or they're being asked to do something that they know is not within these COVID-19 guidelines, have processes been put in place that they can raise these issues in a safe environment and not run the risk of potentially losing their job or facing other challenges along the way?
Yes, all of our members have undertaken to be completely on board with all of this. So we have a compliance officer and a medic on each set, and we have encouraged anyone who feels uncomfortable to actually approach this. It's part of our protocol, actually, to say that, please, if you feel these protocols are not being adhered to, if you feel somebody is being negligent, please either report it to the producer or to the relevant compliance officer, because sometimes a producer can be an intimidating person on set. And in actual fact, we encourage it because we can only police as much as we can. So that is kind of, and of course the CPA is there and Bobby's there for us to be able to, for anyone to be able to report someone quite confidentially without any repercussions.
Before I let you go, Melina, obviously a lot of learnings will be taken from this, and you're already putting those learnings into action. But as you said, you're in an industry where there's no work, no pay. You employ a lot of freelancers, a lot of young people. What are the big learnings that you think your industry will take from facing a pandemic of this kind going forward?
I think the most incredible thing has been that we have come together as an industry and we've solved a universal problem, which is kind of what we did as a CPA. We, instead of trying for each individual company, because we are a whole range of small businesses, and instead of each individual company which are making their own little set of protocols, we actually put the industry together. And I think that the communication amongst all the different parties has been incredible, and it's been a real amazing learning from this process. And I think also it's a respect for other people and understanding that what you do, if you're negligent today, it affects the next guy tomorrow. So the problem with the
unfortunately, I think we're going to have to leave it there, but I think we got the gist of it. Melina MacDonald there, she's an executive producer at Hey Darling Films and is a member of the executive committee of the Commercial Producers Association. They've got a big job on their hands in getting a very important industry that employs a lot of people, getting their wheels turning, but doing so in a safe manner. And that's why she was there telling us about their new COVID-19 protocols overarching all of their members of the CPA who are involved in filming, specifically in the commercial space.